to attend that Rath Yatra, and that is beginning of my regularization of devotional service. Of course, since 71, I have been in contact with the devotees. I arrived in United States in September 71, and within 5 days we started working whatever we get our hands on, and we were working on Corvette's departmental store at 34th Street and 6th Avenue. So there was one devotee also coming, and he was working. So naturally, devotees were inclined always to see some Indian. They may be looking favorable to them to be preached. So I was one of that. So since the 5th day, I had an association with the devotee. We started speaking and expecting each other during the lunchtime. He would provide me prasadam, and I would take it. He also gave me the Sunday Low Feast, card for the Henry Street Temple. But it took about a month and a half, 2 months to look for Henry Street Temple. I took some of my friends also because we were not getting Indian style, neither grocery at that time nor anybody to cook. So we were cooking minute rice, the special brand, which was quick fix type of, and that's about it, or eat pizza outside, but no sabji, roti, dal. So I suggested we should go and check out our temple in Henry Street. So one Sunday we took off, and very interestingly, the Henry Street Temple was pretty amused because we didn't see a temple in a house, but here it is so crowded, and we took prasadam, and we were completely satisfied that we got the first meal, after a long time. Away from home, something is felt that in the midst of Shri Radha, Shyamasundar, and Radha Govindji. Radha Govindji was having the famous dressing with ostrich feathers around it, and we had nice darshan, but we were satisfied. But then it so happened that the devotees who took our address, and out of them, a couple of devotees started coming where we were staying in the Hoboken, 1040 West Willow Avenue, and they were coming constantly and giving me their association exclusively to me only and not to my friends. So, but sometimes they leave prasadam, and I would distribute amongst them. But this kind of affinity that devotees cultivated with me, I can never forget, So this kept on going and going and going. I became much more serious to participate some of the services in the temple in 1975, when the temple moved from Henry Street to 340 West 55th Street. And I used to, my first service was to do painting in front of Radha Govind temple. The altar area was to be decorated. and scaffolding was there, and Mother Janvi, Janaki, uh, she was in charge of painting, and she taught me how to do. So I started painting the lotus uh, uh, decoration. So that was the first assignment. Then it went on, the celebration became much more important. In 1974, that month of, I think, November, I became a life member in Henry Street, and then happened to go to India also in 75 January. There I started, something, being dragged, feeling like a dragged person towards Vrindavan. And I happened to meet my good old friend. Now he's staying in Brisbane, Australia. um, um, the uh, uh, Gunnar Prabhu, he was the president there. But I met him in the guest house in Vrindavan, and he said, "You are coming from New York, you are a life member. Oh, please stay. I will give you 3 days free. Please stay." I said, "I'm coming in a bus, which was first taking us to Agra, and then on the way now return. And they are giving 1 hour to look around in Vrindavan." So I was not prepared, but I did come to see our temple. Of course, the scaffolding was there, can't help because the construction was going on. It was not complete. And but the guest house was the first thing to be completed. And he requested me, he was virtually begging me to stay. Then he threw the last tantrums on me. Prabhupada is coming tomorrow, and you won't stay? I said, "Oh my God, if I would have known, I could have come prepared and stayed over." But unfortunately, I had to return to their catch train uh, all the way to Gujarat. So that was the situation. I didn't take much more off from New York. Hardly, I had a 2 week off because my grandmother passed away. Anyway, that was 75. And the year 76 was much more intense for me, becoming the life member, and the court cases in New York during 75, 76 about the uh, uh, the issue of the deprogramming and um, uh, brainwashing charges, and they were lumping us as a cult, and we were taken on the trial in the court, and our President Toshan Krishna was in communication. Adikesha was also there, and so much and so forth was uh, like a commotion going on. I remember that in the beginning of 76, we had to collect about 75,000 signature on the petition of the Indians to endorse Iskcon as a genuine movement, a Vaishnava tradition of the Hindu religion. So like that, we worked hard as life members. And then the July was coming. Srila Prabhupada was coming, and our hearts were throbbing like anything. I used to come regularly in the afternoon and especially the weekend afternoon to do some service. And Jayanand Prabhu was there to build the cart. So devotees told me that you can go and help him. So I went to the cart site, which was, given for us in the railway yard, where I think Trump purchased, President Trump at that time, the realtor, he purchased that property, and we were, um, seeing the devotees are all over constructing the car. So during the lunch time, about 3 o'clock, they used to serve khichdi prasadam, and most of the devotees would come and attend the prasadam. So I used to go along with them, and we had a talk. And so Jayanand Prabhu was there one time, and uh, and somebody introduced him to me, and I was very much appreciating. He was very bright-faced, very uh, quick to respond. He has almost everything in his mind about devotional service, and he said. Then he asked me, "What do you do?" So I said, I'm a research biochemist and working on kidneys. So Jayanand Prabhu was like, oh, I have leukemia. Can you please tell me something, the modern research on that? I said, this is oncology department and I'm on nephrology. So I said, wow, all these emojis, what is the use? I was, he was trying to, snap me out from the ignorance. It is better to chant Hare Krishna, and then we will all smile. He would laugh so heartily. So anyway, Jayanand Prabhu was very much absorbed in card making. And I was interested in also some kind of some motif making. And one time there was some parrots were supposed to be done. And I tried to get them on the shikhar, the kalashas area. There were 2 parrots. I still remember, but other things were very heavy, like lifting up. And Indian body cannot do much more of physical work in that sense. So anyway, and the Rath cart and everything was done. I used to come back and forth from Jersey City to New York City every time. So, because we have become, life members, and Srila Prabhupada was also very much pleased to see the life members. When Srila Prabhupada arrived for Rath Yatra, Srila Prabhupada was calling meetings with life members also. So I was coming from New Jersey on an odd day, and I became a little late. So when I reached on the 13th floor of the building where Srila Prabhupada's quarters were, it was so crowded that I was not allowed to enter even, because I was late, and there were always chokidars and say, hey, you can't go. So somehow I had stayed away and tried to listen and grasp whatever I can. So anyway, that was the second time missing of Srila Prabhupada. First time was in Vrindavan, India, and Guru Nanak enticed me by telling, and I believed him. I said, that's my misfortune, because I took up a tourist bus, which is going to stay only for 1 hour. So I couldn't make it. And this time also I couldn't make it because, I was working outside. But nonetheless, I came because next day was supposed to be a Rath Yatra. So I said, okay, I will have darshan at least tomorrow, Srila Prabhupada. I spoke to my father also. He also joined. But we got separated. I was very anxious to see Srila Prabhupada. So Rath Yatra started and from the Fifth Avenue, 59th Street, and then came down on Fifth Avenue up to 43rd Street. And I think Prabhupada was joining the Rath Yatra from 43rd Street. So we were in front, and the car came, and because it's odds even, so car has to come from the 40th, from Park Avenue to on 43rd Street to Fifth Avenue. So like that. So at the end of the street, when the Rath was arriving, then Srila Prabhupada got down in the car. We paid our obeisances. And it was so much, a memorable mark, because this is my first darshan, even though from far, but that was there. And then when I come near, Prabhupada already sat on Subhadra's cart, and again, when he sat down, we paid our obeisances and walked along all the way to Washington Square Park. The crowd was so there. I was doing some service here and there, but nonetheless, I wanted to hear Srila Prabhupada because I was not fortunate so far to hear. And the day of Rath Yatra itself was the only day that I would be hearing Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada started speaking after the end of the Rath Yatra, and his voice was heavy. He had a lot of cough, and but nonetheless, for 15 minutes he spoke, and he stopped after that because of some heaviness in his heart is there. So anyway, Srila Prabhupada spoke so simple but sublime, and that is the real message. Today, we are trying to study on the Bhakti Rasamrita, and Prabhupada spoke only on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and simple and high thinking. Srila Prabhupada gave short but sweet lecture, and then the festivities started, but then I would try to, after the Rath Yatra was over, of course, there's so much, activity of hyper nature is concerned. But this is the first and foremost impression upon me. I was getting all the news of Srila Prabhupada's activities from Gitanagari, and as well as when he would go to New Vrindavan. I never been to New Vrindavan. And Gitanagari was also not much because we were more concerned rather of the development of New York and the situations that devotees were facing. So the two court cases during the 55 and 56 75 and 76 era, the life membership department was heavily, engaged. And raising the fund also, Gajahanta was the director at that time. And Gajahanta has been enthusiastic at that time. I would do a lot of run around. But when the devotees were, slapped $50,000 fine because I heard that they left the Henry Street Temple, which was on the lease. Uh, they did not close down the lease. Moreover, there were so many so-called adjustments to the wall, and just to make a big hole, they had to break the hole and this and that. So I heard that the owner, he was Italian, he set fire to that old building, Henry Street Temple, and claimed the damage on Hare Krishna because the lease was on their name and it was still on. So the brainwashing case was the fantastic victory. And the judgment was so much important that Prabhupada was very pleased, very pleased. And, he said so many things about the Indian community, which came forward to help. Then Prabhupada also told Ramakrishna Maharaj, that this building is a 340 West 55th Street building, was so much, becoming attached to the mind of Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada had he expressed desire that if he dies in New York, to create him, put him in samadhi on the roof of the building, and because he was very fond of seeing the skyscrapers. Srila Prabhupada's attitude was very, very transparent, like a child's mind, and he loved these kind of expressions. That this is famous, and my spiritual master is also famous. So both will come as a colliding situation, as a not colliding, but going parallel to each other. So Srila Prabhupada was very, very pleased in this particular trip. So the second one, the court case that we were slapped $50,000, punitive damage, and the judgment was very unfavorable to the devotees. But yet they did not give much time, so we had to collect within 24 hours, this amount. And one of our life members was a gentleman from State Bank of India in Park, I think Park Street branch, and there was State Bank of India, and he was our life member also. He came forward that there is only one way he can extend, because he was the general manager. So Krishna sent him, and we took up some kind of a challenging thing. Gajahanta came to me and said, Mr. Vyas, can you please help? This is so much of an emergency. I need your help. I said, what? We have to collect, $50,000. And the bank manager gave us the scheme how to do. He gave us promissory note and guaranteed paper. And I said, please collect the promissory note and the guarantee papers from 17 life members for 3,000 each, $3,000 each. So I said, okay, let's start. And without wasting time, I took him in my car and reached everywhere to selected 17 life members that I know and personally persuaded them to sign this, guaranteeing paper. But they say, oh, we are trying to help the temple by becoming life member. Now you brought, them for some more help. You better watch out. They were trying to give me warning. Said, we do not know. We don't have any other experience, but only we have some faith in the deity. That's why we are coming, but not on the devotee. I said, that's bad. Okay, I will take on my own risk, but we need to help. So in this way, I was able to convince them, and they put me as a overseer that every month for the whole year the payment is done as it's described. So Iskcon was paying off the mortgages every month regularly, and I would have to report. We will have regular life membership meeting just to know whether the payment is done or not. So anyway, these were very intense years of our participation, and Prabhupada was very pleased, and therefore when he came, he wanted to meet the life members. Of course, I was not fortunate enough because I was not staying in the same state. I had to come from far away. It takes about 45 minutes to drive and come back. So I was not fortunate enough to see Srila Prabhupada in the membership meeting or something like that. But I always get the report from Shivaradya Prabhu and Adya Prabhu and keep on going. But this participation paved my life, for commitment. And, since then, the second Rath Yatra was also was much more important for me because Srila Prabhupada was again coming, but he could not make it. He had to go back from London. And in his absence, we were initiated, but during that time, when Jayanan Prabhu passed away before, a few days before Rath Yatra, it was quite shocking. And when you meet the person of his caliber, he will leave an everlasting impression on me and for anybody else. Jayanan Prabhu was much celebrated, and Srila Prabhupada spoke so much high of him that Jayanan Prabhu had been always a kind of inspiration for me also, because everybody was cultivating that same fervor by his extraordinary service and devotional service to Srila Prabhupada. So, Rath Yatra was a very good memory. And then next year, I mean, in 77 also, I had the occasion to participate in, again, card making, and Maheshwar was in charge. And Maheshwar was cordial enough. And he also left me lasting impressions. Of course, he's actively engaged in preaching and Ojai, Ojai, or what was in California. So anyway, Haribol. What is that? It's Haribol. There's no. Okay. So sorry for interruption. So 1977 Rath Yatra, we were waiting for Srila Prabhupada. That was a big shock for us that he would not come. But we paid for him because he was sick anyway. In 76 also he was pretty sick. And in sickness, he's traveling so constantly, left a very deep impression upon me to keep on traveling and preaching. If it is not Srila Prabhupada's example, I would not have followed anybody else like that. So somehow or another, I will understand that if Srila Prabhupada has done, and gave me inspiration to travel and preach, I don't want to just remain stagnant at any particular place. Of course, as a sannyasi, I must travel and preach. But traveling so extensively, there are a few devotees, they also do. But everybody was telling me, even Burijan Prabhu one time told me, Maharaj, please slow down. Please slow down. I said, yes. Now, in this time of Corona, there is automatically slow down situation is there. But nonetheless, remembering the deep impressions that has ever been felt, which were so initially required to establish a firm conviction in the life of a devotee like myself, that Srila Prabhupada has, even in sickness, can give us so much inspiration to continue the process of Krishna consciousness. Anyway, the importance in my life is the first and only, darshan of Srila Prabhupada and hearing him. Once it's good enough for me to pursue my lifelong commitment in his service. That what else is there? Because in his absence, which was hardly after my initiation, 1 month Prabhupada lived, and his stalwart disciples, my god brothers, senior to me, even some of them by age, others were younger than me, but still they were knowing so many intricate things about the devotional service, always encouraged me and pushed me up, and I'm highly obliged. Whatever I am is the mercy of my god brothers. But Srila Prabhupada instilled that seed of devotion in me, made it very much, thoroughly, securely, thoroughly sprouting of that seed. So I'm trying to take good care of that creeper in myself and try to encourage others to, do some similar way to render and engage their life in rendering devotional service of Sri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada for me is, even though a sweet and short glimpse, darshan, and 1 15-minute lecture can do everything possible. So what can I say? I cannot underestimate my good fortune. I wouldn't want to waste a bit of it. So these are my remembrances of the New York Rath Yatra. Eventually, in 1978, 78, I guess 79, when the New York, this 340 West building was sold, and I was also left alone in Iskcon of Queens as a president. I was the only one-man show in the temple, but Shivaradya Prabhu and his family helped me. And then we decided to conduct a Rath Yatra in Queens, because in New York City, there was no situation, because they moved to Brooklyn, and they were not able to get some problems. So the entire, burden of celebrating Rath Yatra in New York in 1979 fell on my head, and I never did so much, but nonetheless, I had to even publish a souvenir in collection of the money for Rath Yatra celebrations. And I went everywhere and tried to conduct the Rath Yatra. I remember I had to publish the souvenir, which was black and white, and there was only a little red spot of sun. That is because we didn't have money at that time. So much so that, but Rath Yatra was conducted. Once it started in 1976, by the enthusiasm of Srila Prabhupada, and in about 4 years, I ended up, doing for once, at least I can understand what a tremendous service it is required to conduct a Rath Yatra. Of course, every year in Brooklyn, the Rath Yatra of Manhattan will be celebrated. Chaitanya and all others, they have been now trained to conduct, future Rath Yatras. This is a mock Rath Yatra, which has been, giving me opportunity to remember 1976 Rath Yatra. And that is not the beginning, but it was regularizing my devotional life. That's for sure. So I thank you very much. Anybody would have any more remembrance, because mine was still and important for myself. I would like to, thank you for organizing and allowing me to speak my memories. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.